Who's your candidate? I do hope that Alita Godwin, the city clerk for the city of Compton, is your candidate. I am respectfully asking that you vote for me to retain my seat as the city clerk for the city of Compton. So again, on April the 18th, vote for the qualified candidate, Alita Godwin. God always wins. God bless.
Ms. Alita Godwin, thank you for taking the time to meet with me and have an interview. As you know, we're doing the campaign, Who's Your Candidate? And we're doing just basically a forum where we're allowing all the candidates to express who they are, address some of the concerns of the citizens, and basically just respond to them. And last couple of weeks we've been at the city council meetings, and we're just checking them out, recording them, getting responses from different residents. So now we're here interviewing with you. And first thing I want to know, who is Alita Godwin?
Alita Godwin is the city clerk for the city of Compton. But outside of being the city clerk for the city of Compton, I'm a wife of 25 years, a mother of 2 sons, a grandmother of a grandson. I'm definitely a child of God. And I'm also a servant to this community. I believe I was put in this position to be a servant, to be of service to the community and to all people. And I love to serve, and I love to help people. And that's the heart of Alita. There's other parts of Alita where I like to go camping. I like to travel. When I go camping, I love the outdoors. I don't like cabins. I like the tent. I love the water. I want to rough it. Even though we've come up a little bit, we have the real bed and our own bathroom in the tent, but I'm still in the outdoors. And that's what I like to do. I enjoy sports. I enjoy laughter. That's the side of me when I'm with my family. I enjoy family. And so I'm just an outdoors person. I love to just be free, be happy.
What does Alita do for fun?
As of late, I don't get to have much fun because I'm always at work. But if I could have fun, real fun, I would take a trip to the Bahamas or to Aruba is where I really want to go. And fun to me is sitting out in the sun and soaking up sunshine. And that's fun to me, relaxing. I don't have to always be active to have fun, but just to relax and enjoy the beauty of God's work. That's fun to me. And so then that's what I do. And I think because I'm getting older, I'm more and more relaxed. But I do like bike riding. My husband and I go bike riding. We actually have a double bike. So, we do that. I like to exercise. I like to walk. But being at work, a full-time clerk, doesn't give me all of that time. But in my younger years, that's what I enjoy doing. But now, I want to relax in the sun. Even if it's just in my backyard. I've created my backyard to wherever I think I want to be.
Okay.
If I want to be out on the hammock, I pull out my hammock and sit in it. If I just want to sit in the high chair, I sit in the high chair and with my music. So, you kind of have to create your environment. So that's what I do when I'm at home. So most of the time I'm at home.
How long have you been a resident of the city of Compton?
I've been a resident about 30 years. All of my adult life, even prior to me being married, I had roommates. and actually I was staying with my godmother and god sisters, and then when I met my husband, he wasn't my husband, but when I met my husband, we moved to the city of Hawthorne for about a year. Got married, had our first child, moved to Bellflower for about a year, maybe a couple of years, and then we moved back to Compton. We purchased our home in 1997, I believe it is. My husband is from Compton, so he wanted to move back to his city, and I agreed.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from the Los Angeles Gardena area. I grew up off of Rosecrans between San Pedro and Maine, and but the schooling I went to, we were bused to Gardena, so I attended Perry Junior High and I graduated from Gardena High, so right on the outskirts of Compton.
Okay. Now, I'm under the impression, or I understand, that you have a lot of experience here as the city clerk, as you've been in office, or working in this office for the last 30 years?
34 years.
34
yes.
years in this
34
office.
years.
How has that been?
It's been a long journey. You know, it's really been a great experience for me. Coming to this office as a 19-year-old out of high school, I just came to work. I just wanted a job. I left home when I was 16, and so I knew that I had to keep working. And I tested for a clerk typist, and I was literally the last person on the list before the list expired. And there was 3 people on there. I interviewed. I was working at the police department, a temporary assignment, and I was the last one. The then city clerk Charles Davis interviewed me, and I ultimately got the job. And again, I just came to work. And being here, it taught. I think I was prepared. It was preparing me, not knowing that I was going to be the city clerk one day, because that was not a goal of mine. Because I wanted my boss to work forever, and I thought he would never retire because he did 32 years. And so it was not my goal. It was just to make the office work, to service the community. So that's all I was here for, was just to work, not knowing that, one day I want to be the clerk.
Right.
But ultimately, 22 years later, after working in here, my boss retired, and the city council appointed me in 2004 to finish his year and a half on his term. And after I completed that, I ran for office in 2005, in 9 and 13, and now 17. So that's kind of my short story.
Okay.
Of working in the office.
Can you give me an example of one of the struggles of being city clerk?
If I have to choose a struggle, because none of it is a struggle for me, because I've overcome so many things, so I typically take anything head on. But I don't know if you would even really call a struggle, but the struggle for me is this time of the year, election time. All I want to do is work. All I want to do is service the people. But the unfortunate part is that the city clerk's position is elected, and so you have to run, for the office, which means you have to get in. It's not a political position. People want to make it a political position, but it's not a political position. We have no voting power. We can't set policies, nothing like that. But you have to get into the fight of the politics. So the struggle for me would be to try and just make sure I stay focused on what my job is, because even though the election is going on, I still have a full-time job to do. I can't go out there and play the games and do what others do. I have a job to do, and I take my job very seriously. And as I stated before, I've always been disciplined to come to work. Even as the city clerk, I still come in at 7 o'clock.
Right.
Do I really have to? Probably not. But that's just the condition that I have. and I stay late, and I work on weekends. I work on, so I'm dedicated to my position, but I really don't have a struggle because I think my training allowed me to be able to face whatever comes and to be able to figure it out and work through it. One may say something is a struggle, but I don't, in all honesty, I don't really find anything that's a struggle. I may have difficulties figuring it out, but I'm going to keep working at it until I do. Because I never want to be, I never want to be defeated in anything I do. I don't want to be defeated. I got to conquer it.
Right.
So.
Okay. Now, since being in office, I've talked to a few people, asked around. I went to a couple city council meetings. Got some responses from some of the residents of the city of Compton. The main concern when it comes to Ms. Alita Godwin would be that the issue with the city seal. Everyone's talking about that around now because it's election time, and this is one of the focuses. And they want to know how did that happen? What exactly happened? Or are you at liberty to speak about it?
Well, when you speak of the city seal, what people fail to understand is there's a difference between a city seal and a city logo. There's a difference. The city charter states that I am to be the custodian over the city seal. The city seal is something that you affix to legal documents, to the resolutions, to contracts. That's not a logo, it's a seal. So if you'd like me to show it to you, I can show it to you. But so people have to, I'm really big on words, and if you say seal, then I know what a seal is. If you say logo, then I know what a logo is. So there's a difference. So if they're concerned about me protecting the seal, I protect the seal. The seal stays in my drawer at all times. So it's not.
Okay, now in the event where some clothing is being sold with the city's, is it the city seal or is it the city logo?
Logo.
Okay, so it's the city logo.
Correct.
And which is different from the seal when we walk into the office? When we first walk into the courthouse, there's a welcome mat. And on that welcome mat, is that the seal or is that the logo?
Logo.
Okay. So that's that's what is being used on the clothing now to purchase.
Correct.
Okay. Who has the rights to that seal? Or I'm sorry, that logo?
The most I can tell you is that the city does.
Okay. So as of now, the city can't do anything as it relates to profiting off of that logo on clothing or anything else.
I wouldn't necessarily say that because I don't know. I don't know how trademarks and those type of things work. I don't know. That's not my scope of work. So in all honesty, I don't know how it works. I don't know if I can just tell you that the city never trademarked the logo. That's what I can tell you.
Is it a concern of yours that maybe some legal action could come as a result of using that logo?
I'm not concerned at all, simply because one has to always be responsible for their own decisions. I'm responsible for mine. As my children are adults, they're responsible for theirs. If legal action is to be taken against them, then they have to face that, because it has nothing to do with me. I'm not a part of what they do. In all honesty, I don't even want to know what they do, because once I raise them to be who they are, then they make their own decisions. Just as when I was growing up, I had to make my own decisions. When I decided to leave at the age of 16, I didn't look back for my parents' permission or acceptance of what I did. I had to make my decision, and whatever came before me, and I had to suffer the consequences of whatever my decision was. And that's what I do with my children. You have to suffer your own consequences because now you're the adult that you are. And if we had to own up to all of our children's decisions, and you know, a lot of us parents would probably be in jail or wherever. Jail's probably, you know, not the best place to say, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to make the point that I'm not responsible for the decisions that my kids make.
Okay. All right. Now, in the event that, well, right now, let's say that your character would be in question as it relates to the logo. But in the charter, you made the point that it says to be a custodian of the seal of the city.
Yes.
And since that's not the seal of the city, you aren't responsible for, you're not the custodian for that.
I'm just custodian for the seal.
The seal and not the logo.
And not the logo.
So as it relates to them coming at you because of the logo, that's not your responsibility.
It's not my responsibility.
Another one of your duties, as we talked about before off camera, is to have charge of all city elections.
Yes.
Some people question, how would Alita Godwin maintain her character or integrity as she's charged of the elections, her own election in this case?
And what I say to that, actually when I first ran in 2005, that was probably the first question I had to answer. And what I simply say to that is that it states in the charter that I am the elections official and I'm to have charge over all elections. It doesn't say but when you run, it says all elections. And so I simply say that if it was good for the past city clerks to do it, what's wrong with me? If my character comes into question, it's simply because a person doesn't know me. Because I'm not here to steal, to cheat, that's not me. And I always also tell them that I love freedom more than anything. And even if people think that I could cheat for myself, I wouldn't do that, because there are so many other elements in conducting an election. You'd have to have so many people on your side to help you to fix an election. And I'm not willing to take that risk, because I believe in doing what's right. I believe in following the law. I follow the law in my personal life. I'm going to follow it in my professional life. And until the charter is changed, I'm going to continue to conduct the elections, because that's my job. I'm not going to outsource it because it says that the clerk is to do it. Now I can hire additional help to help me, but ultimately the approval of everything stops with me. And if a person don't believe that I can do that, then they really don't know the true Alita, because it's not what I do, it's not who I am. And I pride myself on who I am and how I present myself. Just as I do that in my whole family, you know, you will always see my sons as professionals, presented respectable young men, because that's a reflection of me. So how can I be of one and expect them to be of another? We're in this together. And so my reputation, the impression of myself is very important to me. And so I'm going to do my job. That's all I can say, is I'm going to do what's expected of me.
Okay. Now, I'm going to bring your attention to last election. There was a issue with dead voters. Did that had to come through your office as well? Whatever happened with that scandal of the dead voters?
Well, to be honest with you, in every election, there's always a complaint in the community. But unless something comes across my desk, there's nothing I can do about it. People say there's dead people voting. you have to bring proof. I can tell you right now, and I think people cheat all the time at the polls, but I can't prove it. So what can I do about it? I think, and I believe that people hire individuals to go to the polling places and vote for somebody that they know is not going to vote, and they vote in their place. Can I prove it? I can't prove it, so I can't do anything with it. But
is there anything that the clerk's office can do to maybe prevent that type of thing from happening in future elections?
well, I think so, and I presented to City Council an all-mail election, which means that everyone will receive a ballot at their home, and they can choose to vote it, or if they don't want to vote by mail, they can surrender their ballot to the polling place and vote in person. Now, what vote by mail does is, if you vote by mail, every signature is verified. So if you were to sign for your mom or your dad and it didn't match your mom's signature, then you can't count it. So your signature is verified with your voter registration.
Right.
But when you're at the polls, you don't have to show ID. You can just come in and say, I'm John Smith at 123 South Santa Fe, and they're going to give you a ballot. But you're really not John Smith.
Right.
Okay, so once you turn in that ballot, we don't know which ballot was yours, which one, So that's where you can. So in all honesty, we're going towards all mail election. Anyways, the laws are changing, and I was trying to explain that to City Council so that we can be on the front side of it. But very soon we won't even have a choice. It's going to be automatic. So that's my, as it relates to dead voting, I will share with you that I think it was the last election, yes, it was the last election, where we found, where through the vote by mail, where we found that a gentleman attempted to vote twice. One name had a middle initial and the other one didn't. And the birthday may have been a day off or a year off. However, when you look at it, you can tell it's the same writing. So those are the things that we have to do before a vote by mail can be counted. And that's a whole process in itself. But we turned that over to the DA because it's against the law to vote twice. And so we turned it over, and we had a couple of people like that. And so when we find those things, we turn it over. But if one never brings the complaint to the clerk's office, it's just gossip to me. And I don't deal with gossip. I really don't. You have to bring me facts.
Right. You've been here talking all day about some gossip.
Gossip, yeah.
Okay, so let me trade on some gossip then really quick. Apparently there was a lockbox with roughly about $200,000 that you turned over to the city treasurer.
Now that is a rumor. It's not only is a rumor, not only is it gossip, but it's an outright lie. And I'll explain it to you. The city, my office, had a city store. And the store came from when the former mayor had gospel concerts. Eric Perridan. And he was in charge of the gospel concert when whoever his team was. So they had made up hundreds and thousands of t-shirts, and they didn't all sell. So he asked if I would sell them here because people were still, where can I get a shirt? Where can I get a gospel concert shirt? And so I agreed to do that. And so over the years, we were doing the store here. Fast forwarding to just a couple of months ago, the new city manager approached me on his first day, and I'm trying to talk to him about business, because the next day was agenda day, and all he wanted to talk about was the city store. And so I told him that, yes, we have the store in here and people come in and so on and so forth. But he was making an issue of it. So what I did is I closed the store up And I delivered every item to his office and said, now you handle it the way you want to handle it, because apparently it's an issue in my office. After that, we did have money here from the sales, so the city treasurer and my staff counted the money and turned it into the treasurer. Now, what I did when I said that, what I did at a council meeting, that I gave the items to the city manager, I did it on the floor. And at the end of my statement, I mentioned that there is a gospel concert account, and there's $200,000 in the account. Those are donated monies, and the only thing you can use it for is to have another concert. And with that being said, we need to have another concert because we need a little more Jesus. That's what I said. So the next week, during the week, I hear that, oh, you got $200,000 in your office. So I said, just in case, let me clear it up. So the following council meeting, I cleared it up. I had documentation that said, no, it wasn't 200,000, it's 173, because by now I've gotten a report from our finance department to see just how much was in there.
Okay, so 173,000.
So, and some more on there, 173, 300, so whatever it is.
Right.
But the first three numbers is 173. However, that money was never in my office. I've always said in the account.
Now, who has access to this account, or who had access to this account?
Well, it was when you do events and people donate money, the controller, the finance department will set up an account so that monies can be deposited into that account.
Okay.
And then once you have your event, you expend from that account. Well, Paradin apparently was going to have another concert, but he was not reelected. So the money is sitting there. And I want everyone to understand that I had absolutely nothing to do with the gospel concert. I wasn't even on Paradin's team. I wasn't even backstage. I just went. But the reason why I know about the money is because I know the process of how the city works. So just these other events, when they collect money, they go into an account that's earmarked for that particular event. And so that's all it is. I have no money in my office. I would not have that kind of money in my office. There's no need for me to have that kind of money. It would make no sense for me to have that kind of money in my office. I don't even deal with that kind of money.
There's a lot of money in the office.
That's a lot of money in the office. That's a lot of money in the office. And why would I have it in the office for anyone to be able to come and get it?
Now, another question is, why now does this come up? Like, how does this come up now? Because Eric Pearden's been out of office for 4 years now. So,
well, I believe it's coming up solely because one wants to, what's the word I want to use? One wants to bring down my character. One wants to try to show me in a different light, someone that I'm not. One wants to show me as not being trustworthy, because this community knows Alita Godwin. Most of the seniors watched me grow in this office. Most of the seniors have come in here, even before I became the city clerk, they thought I was the city clerk because I was always here helping. So people know me, which is why I believe that I continue to be reelected, is because people know who Alita is. There's no secret about who I am. There's no secret about what I do. There's no secret about the knowledge I have. I'm open. Like I tell everyone, I'm an open book. I have nothing to hide, absolutely nothing to hide. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of what I stand for. And one thing I will not do is let anyone shame my name with lies. I won't do that. So I will stand up for me as well as my family. And that's all it is. It's election time. People get silly during this time. Once I win, they'll go back in their hole, never to speak again until 4 more years. That's just how it is. It happened in 2013. I'm this great person, but all of a sudden, the last couple of months, I'm this, that, and the other. So, and I don't take it personal. I just take it as somebody want what's mine. But you can't have what's mine.
Okay, so what I have here is 3 citizen questions. As you know, we've been in the community asking, or just getting feedback from some of the citizens. And when it comes to Alita Godwin, there were a few questions that they wanted to ask. First question, Marcus Masante filed paperwork with your office as it relates to the city budget and how much money has been spent outsourcing projects. Has that paperwork come across your desk? And if so, how come he hasn't gotten a response and we don't know what the city budget is?
First off, his request is what we consider a public records request. So when anyone wants to know anything or get any documentation from the city, they have to file a public records request. And what the public records request is states, what the law is that this office has 10 days to respond. Doesn't necessarily mean you will get the documentation, but we need to at least let you know what the response is, how much longer it will take us to get your particular request completed. All public records do not come across my desk because we have at least 20 a day. And so if I spend all of my day doing public records requests, why do I need a staff? However, when my staff comes across a difficult request, or they can't find the request, I in turn help them research it. But as it relates to Mr. Masante's request, he wanted to get information on how the information on the it was legal department. How many legal I guess attorneys outside legal counsel that the city had. Well, his request, one's request can come in. If it comes in very vague, then we have to go back and forth for you to clarify it. But moving fast forward, as of yesterday, he received notification that his documents were ready. I'm not sure if he's come and picked them up as of yet. But there is a process when you ask for public records. Most of the time, if we have the documentation within my office, it's a quicker turnaround. However, if we have to seek information from other departments, it can take some time. So that's just the process. You can't always walk in here and expect to get what you want just across the counter. It just all depends on what it is you want.
So he has received a response as of now?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. As of yesterday, we actually had the documentation. He received a response when he kept coming in and his request wasn't completed. So that's considered a response. It might not be a written response, but you got a response.
Right.
But as of yesterday, the documentation was delivered to the office, and my staff sent him an email or a letter, I think it was, advising him that the documents were ready. So he may come in today and pick them up.
Okay, cool. All right, we're going to the next one. Do you believe that the allegations of your unlawful and unethical conduct purchasing apparel from your son's business with unapproved city funds should go unpunished?
I don't know that that's a true statement. So I'm guilty of nothing. I haven't purchased, that I purchased, or?
Well, I'll reread it, and this is verbatim. It says, do you believe that the allegations of your unlawful and unethical conduct purchasing apparel from your son's business with unapproved city funds should go unpunished?
There's been many lawsuits, me charged on things, and I've been, what is the word, acquitted for them all. But this statement, I'm not aware of.
If it doesn't fit, you must quit.
Hey, also, if you want to have a conversation, just come talk to me. That's all I say. Because I've never used city funds. Now, if you want to consider city funds, meaning my paycheck, but once the check is cut to me, it's considered mine, right?
Okay.
But I can't even respond to that because it doesn't make any sense to me.
Last question. Being that one of your job duties is to have charge of the elections, how do you plan on maintaining your integrity? And I think I've asked you that.
Just doing the right thing by the laws that are set before me. There's an election law as it relates to conducting the elections, and I will follow those to the utmost because Alita Godwin loves her freedom. I will not do anything outside of the law that will jeopardize my freedom. It's not worth it. It's not who I am. And I want to wake up every morning and see my son's faces and not behind no glass wall in a jail cell. So you never have to worry about Alita cheating, stealing, breaking the law, never received a ticket, that's not who I am. That's not how I conduct myself.
So right now you're showing us the difference between the seal and the logo. So
Yes.
This is the seal, and this is what you're mandated to protect.
Protect, correct. So this is the actual seal. This seal is what goes on all of the City of Compton's legal documents, and this is what the charter says that I'm to protect. And this I do protect. I do hope that Alita Godwin, the city clerk for the City of Compton, is your candidate. I am respectfully asking that you vote for me to retain my seat as the city clerk for the City of Compton because I am the only qualified candidate that can run this office. So again, on April the 18th, vote for the qualified candidate, Alita Godwin. God always win. God bless.